Hi everyone and welcome to the NIIT's YouTube channel. So most people, they don't waste time because AI is weak. They waste time because they picked the wrong layer of the stack. So today I'm doing a documentation backed tier list of the AI tools people actually use in 2026. Now it could be your automation platforms, coding agents, daily driver assistants and prompt workbenches. And no, this is not vibes. If I rank something S tier, I'll show you the exact feature in the documentation or pricing page that earns it. And if I rank something lower, I'll show you the limitation again from their own pages. So here's the scoring framework. Every tool gets judged on 4 things. First is capability, like can it execute work or only chat. Second is workflow fit. Can it plug into apps, IDEs, or APIs you already use? Third is controller reliability, that is evaluation, versioning, debugging, governance. And fourth is cost and lock-in, pricing mechanics, and whether you can self-host or move outputs cleanly. And one more thing. For automation platforms, pricing unit is everything because the same workflow can cost wildly different amounts depending on how platform counts usage. Like NIIT charges by workflow executions of full run regardless of the complexity. Zapier counts tasks, each successful action completed, and make charges credits. So now let's just forget about this for a while and let's just rank, starting with the layer that saves the most hours automation. So first, we have NIIT, and to be very honest, NIIT is S tier. Why? Because it's built for real automation and not just if this then that. So the first fact is your integrations plus your AI positioning. So NIIT's product messaging clearly states that 500 plus app integrations could be done using NIIT, and specifically for AI agent workflows, NIIT's AI agent integration page says it integrates with 42 plus apps and services. So the total ecosystem is 500 plus, and the AI agent ready surface they highlight there is 422 plus. So fact 2 is self-hosting is officially supported with explicit prerequisites. So NIIT's hosting documentations are not vague. They explicitly say that self-hosting requires technical knowledge, that is servers, container scaling, and securing servers and applications. And their choose NIIT documentation makes the trade-off crystal clear. They recommend self-hosting for expert users and warn mistakes that can lead to data loss, security issues, and downtime. And if you're not experienced, then they recommend you NIIT Cloud. Now, fact 3 is AI agent behavior is documented. So, NIIT's AI agent node documentation explains the agent use external tools and APIs and chooses which tool to use depending on the task. They also note that the AI agent node now operates as a tool agent by default. Now, my fact 4 is that NIIT has a dedicated page for the human in the loop for AI tool calls, where the agent determines it needs a tool that has human review enabled, and the workflow pauses and it sends an approval request via a configured channel. And my fact 5 is the pricing mechanics are predictable. So the pricing page states that all plans include unlimited users and workflows, and the pricing is based on monthly workflow executions regardless of their complexity. So why S tier? Because NIIT combines predictable scaling, self-host options with clear operation guidance, and third, AI agent workflows with human approval gates that are actually documented. So it is best fit for the teams who want control, audibility, and scalable automation. And when not to pick it is if you don't want to own the ops burden of self-hosting, like NIIT itself warns about that. Now, our second is Zapier. Now, Zapier goes at A tier, and the biggest factual reason is the ecosystem depth. First fact is their app coverage is documented, and Zapier pricing page explicitly states that it offers integration for more than 8,000 apps. So their app directory also repeats connect 8,000 apps. Now fact 2 is pricing unit is documented and what counts as a task. So Zapier defines a task as anything it successfully completes on your behalf. So each action in another tool counts as a task. And Zapier Help Center explains pay per task billing. So if you exceed your plan's task limit, you can automatically switch to pay per task for the remainder of the period. Fact 3 is Zapier's AI orchestration story is explicit. So Zapier's MCP page states that Zapier MCP connects Claude, ChatGPT and other AI tools to 8,000 apps and highlights 30,000 actions. So why not S tier? Not because it's weak, but because the model control story differs. It's primarily a hosted platform and the cost model is like pretty task based. So that's often perfect for speed, but it can require tighter cost design at scale because every successful action increments usage. And it's best fit for fastest implementation across a huge SaaS ecosystem, like teams that value speed and breadth. And watch out for workflow design matters because cost tracks successful actions. Now, our third is Make. Now, Make is B tier, and let me be precise, Make is very capable, and this is a positioning and a pricing model ranking. So, fact 1 is integration coverage is documented, so Make's integration page says that explore over 3,000 apps. Fact 2 is pricing unit moved to credits, so Make's pricing page shows free, includes 1,000 credits per month and 3,000 apps, and their Help Center explicitly says that credits replaced operations as a billing unit, and they also published an announcement that they replaced operations with credits starting August 27, 2025. And my third fact is credits can be fixed or dynamic depending on feature. So Make's credits documentation explains for many non-AI apps, one operation is equal to one credit. But some AI and advanced modules can use dynamic credits based on the actual consumption like token, file size, pages or runtime. My fact 4 is AI agents are actively built out with module tools and MCP tools. Make's Help Center describes module tools for AI agents where you can add module as tools and Make automatically creates scenarios for them. So basically it provides faster setup. So why B tier? Because Make is strong, but the cost predictability can be trickier once you go heavy on AI features since credits can become dynamic depending on token usage and connection type. For teams doing lots of AI calls, you need to monitor usage carefully. And it's best fit for visual builders, complex branching workflow, and teams that like scenario style debugging. Now, let's move on to coding agents now. So first you have Claude Code, and hands down Claude Code goes to S tier because this is straight from its documentations. Now fact 1, it's an agentic coding tool with explicit capabilities. Now Claude Code is described as an agentic coding tool that reads your code base, edits files, run commands and integrates with development tools available in the terminal like IDE, desktop and browser. Fact 2, it has a safety interaction model documented. So Claude Code's quick start says that it asks for permission before modifying files, so you can approve individual changes or enable an accept all mode for a session. And now why S tier? Because edits files plus run commands is the difference between a chatbot and a coworker, and the permission model makes it controllable in real workflows. Now let's move on to OpenAI Codex. So I will rate it A tier and it's very close to S. Now fact 1 is Codex app is officially a multi-agent command center. So OpenAI's announcement describes the Codex app for macOS as a command center to manage multiple agents at once, and it can run work in parallel, review different documents and includes built-in support for work trees. My fact 2 is Codex is positioned as a coding partner and workspace. So OpenAI Codex page describes the app as a command center for agentic coding with work trees and cloud environments where agents work in parallel. Fact 3 is plan inclusion is documented. So OpenAI Help Center states that ChatGPT plans include Codex usage. Now why A tier and not automatic S? Not because Codex lacks capability, because teams choose based on workflow preference. Some want terminal first and some want app-based supervision with work trees and parallel threads. Now both are top tier, and A tier here means elite, but pick based on workflow. Let's move on to Cursor now. Now Cursor is A tier as an AI first editor layer. Fact 1 is Cursor tiers and what's included are explicit. Now Cursor's pricing page shows Pro at $20 per month and lists features like extended limits on agent, unlimited tab completions, cloud agents, and maximum context windows. Fact 2, Cursor also documents team enterprise controls. Now, their pricing page lists teams with shared rules, usage analytics, organization-wide privacy mode controls, role-based access control, and SAML OIDC SSO, enterprise adds SCIM seat management, and audit logs. So why ATO? Cursor's value isn't another model, it's the editor loop plus the team controls. If you code daily, it's a serious productivity layer, and if you don't, it's optional. Now let's move on to daily driver assistants. So first you have ChatGPT. Now daily drivers ChatGPT is S tier for breadth. Fact 1 is plus pricing is officially stated. Now OpenAI's Help Center states that ChatGPT Plus is $20 per month. And why S tier? Because for writing, planning, and general problem solving, it's still the most complete do-it-all assistant, and it also connects to the Codex ecosystem for the people who ship code. Now second is Gemini, which is so Gemini is a A tier, especially if your world is Google, and here's why with hard facts. Fact 1, India pricing and what's included. Now Gemini subscription page for India shows 1950 rupees per month and includes higher access to Gemini 3.1 Pro, deep research, Nano Banana Pro, image generation, and video generation with VO 3.1. So it's fast with limits plus 1000 monthly AI credits. Fact 2, feature limits are explicitly documented. So Google's Gemini apps limit page shows plan-based limits like prompts per day, context size, deep research reports per day, and video generation per day with VO 3.1 fast. So A tier because Gemini is deeply integrated into the Google ecosystem, and its plan pages are unusually transparent about feature limits and context sizes. If you're operating inside Gmail, Docs, Drive workflow, it's a very strong daily driver. Now let's move on to Perplexity, and Perplexity is A tier as well because it is built around one job, answer with sources you can check. So their help center explicitly states that each answer includes numbered citations linking to the original sources for verification. So if you are doing research, comparisons, or anything that needs receipt, Perplexity is purpose built for it. Now let's move on to Microsoft Copilot. So Copilot is B tier not because it's weak, but because it's best in a specific ecosystem. So Microsoft Copilot pricing page states that it works seamlessly with Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Outlook, Teams, and other Microsoft 365 apps. And it also mentions that you can create and use agents with Copilot Studio and notes and Azure subscription requirement to use agents. So if your organization lives inside Microsoft 365, Copilot can be a daily driver, and if not, it's less essential. Now let's move on to Grok. So Grok is C tier for professional work. So not because it can't do tasks, but the product is optimized around the X ecosystem and X AI's model direction. Now X Premium documentation states that Premium and Premium Plus include increased usage limits on Grok, and they list Premium Plus pricing web at $40 per month in their help documentation. Now XAI's Grok 4 announcement states that Grok 4 includes native AI tool and real-time search integration and is available to Super Grok and Premium Plus subscribers and via XAI API. So interesting, fast, culture-aware, and clearly pushing tool use, but for calm, consistent professional output under pressure, and it's not my first pick. Now let's move on to your prompt workbenches. So first you have your OpenAI Playground prompt management, and I would rate it S tier. So why is that? Because if you're building AI systems and not just chatting, this category matters. So OpenAI's prompt management article states the responses API and the agent SDK accepts the same variables you define in Playground. And it also documents the built-in eval integration, which is basically link and eval to pre-fill variables and view pass-fill results on the prompt detail page. And that is what turns prompting from vibes into engineering. So for teams shipping AI features, definitely S tier. Second, let's move on to Anthropic Console. So Anthropic Console is A tier for a similar reason. Anthropic's own post says that you can generate, test and evaluate prompts directly in the console with automatic test case generation and side-by-side output comparison. So if your stack uses Claude models, this is a clean workflow for iteration and evaluation. Our third is Google AI Studio. And Google AI Studio is A tier as a developer playground for Gemini because Google is unusually explicit about quotas. Google's Gemini API rate limit documentation explains rate limits are measured across RPM, TPM, and RPD applied per project and are more restricted for experimental and preview models. It also explains usage tiers and how upgrade works. Like Tier 2 and Tier 3 eligibility is based on cumulative Google Cloud spend and time since payment. And it explicitly states that rate limits depend on quota tier and can be viewed in AI Studio. And specified rate limits are not guaranteed and actual capacity may vary. So A tier for fast prototyping and model experimentation, especially when you want visibility into limits and tiers. So let's cover the E and F tiers. So E tiers is not bad, it's risky. So lifetime deal tools can be fine for experiments, but for business workflows, you need predictable uptime, security posture, and roadmap clarity. My documentation rule is simple. If a vendor can't clearly document how usage is built, how data is handled or retained, and what admin controls exist, treat it as E tier until proven otherwise. Now let's cover the F tier, which is basically the lookalike clones and the credential traps, which is a hard red flag. So F tier is the red flag category, which is basically the lookalike sites that push weird logins, pop-ups or fake Google sign-in screens. So the FBI describes phishing as schemes that trick you into providing sensitive info like passwords by sending you the spoofed sites that look nearly identical to the real thing. And browser-in-browser attacks are a known technique where attackers mimic a trusted login window inside your browser session. So if you didn't navigate from the official domain, don't authenticate. If the login looks like a pop-up inside a page, close it and verify the URL. So that's the 2026 tier list, grounded in documentation and not hype. If you tell me a use case, automation, coding, research or production AI, I will recommend the shortest tool stack to learn first, plus the safest way to deploy it. So thank you so much. So if you like this video, subscribe to the NIIT channel and also like this video. And if you don't agree with my ranking list here, just drop me a comment and let's have a discussion regarding that. Thank you so much.